Over the last decade or so, there has been a huge increase in the number of games costing more than $50 million to develop, and that's before marketing and promotional costs are taken into account. While most of these titles do manage to turn a profit, some of the figures involved can be truly mind-blowing and offer a lot of insight into the sheer scale of the games industry as well as how competitive it really is. So here is a list of the top 10 most expensive video games ever made. Number 10. Shadow of the Tomb Raider. The latest chapter in the excellent Tomb Raider reboot series, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, also happens to be Lara's most expensive outing to date. In an interview with GamesIndustry.biz, head of Eidos Montreal David Anfossi revealed that the game's production budget came in at somewhere between $75 and $100 million, with an additional $35 million or so being spent on marketing and promotion. Luckily for the developer, the game sold incredibly well, with more than 4 million copies being snapped up in its first 3 months on the market alone. It performed strongly with critics as well. It's more than likely that the title returned a healthy profit for both its developer and its publisher, Square Enix. Number 9. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. It's looking increasingly probable that Metal Gear Solid 5 will be Hideo Kojima's final Metal Gear game, with the influential Japanese developer having parted ways with Konami back in 2015. The exact reasons for the sudden and shocking split will likely remain a mystery, but the budget for his final project with the company is at least a little bit clearer. According to Eurogamer, a report from a Japanese financial newspaper revealed that $80 million had been spent on the game's production as of April 2015. With the final release not coming until September of the same year, however, it's fairly likely that the final cost was a lot closer to the $100 million mark, especially if post-release content and patches are taken into account. Number 8. Battlefield 4. Considered by many to be one of the very best FPS franchises out there, it should perhaps come as little surprise to learn that EA's Battlefield games are not cheap to make. According to the company's former chief creative officer Richard Hillman, in fact, the series' fourth entry cost a staggering $100 million to develop, which would make Battlefield 4 the franchise's most expensive title to date. The game performed strongly with critics and has sold more than 7 million copies since its launch. Despite these impressive accomplishments, however, it struggled to keep up with the competition, with Call of Duty Ghosts going on to sell almost 3 times as many copies. Whether the highly anticipated Battlefield 6 will fare any better in this regard remains to be seen. Number 7. Max Payne 3. Rockstar Games isn't known for taking half measures or playing it safe, as evidenced by the sheer scale of the projects that the developer typically takes on. While GTA and Red Dead may be the most notable examples of this, though, there are plenty of other impressive titles decorating the company's extensive back catalog of games. One of these is Max Payne 3. The iconic video game cop's third and final outing is also his most expensive, with estimates suggesting that the game had a production budget of $105 million. It sold more than 4 million copies in its first year, though, so should at the very least have recouped its development budget. More importantly, perhaps, the game served as a perfect send-off for Max while also offering a solid gameplay experience in the process. Number 6. Grand Theft Auto 5. It has sold more than 200 million units since it first went on sale back in 2013. For those wondering, that all equates to a total profit of around $8 billion and counting. It's worth noting that the $137 million figure only covers the game's initial production costs, with DLC, GTA Online, and the game's multiple next-gen ports likely to have driven that amount far higher over the course of the last 8 years. The game's initial marketing budget is also believed to have been around $137 million, so when all's said and done, it wouldn't be too surprising to learn that Rockstar has now spent more than $400 million on the title in total. Number 5. Destiny. Though certainly not for everyone, Destiny and its 2017 sequel have both been incredibly successful games, winning numerous awards and attracting a sizable and enthusiastic fan base in the process. All of this success has come at a cost, though, with Bungie's initial publishing agreement with Activision suggesting that the first game cost somewhere in the region of $140 million to develop. Scarily, this may just be the tip of the iceberg. Number 4. Red Dead Redemption 2. It may not have sold quite as many copies as GTA 5, but Red Dead Redemption 2 features just as much detail throughout its large open world. This attention to detail came at a huge cost, however. The game alone is thought to have set the developer back between $170 and $240 million, with as much as $450 million spent on marketing on top of that amount. When all's said and done, the true cost of the title may have passed the $500 million mark, considering the game generated an impressive $725 million in revenue in just its first 2 days on sale. It seems safe to say that Rockstar was once again able to make a healthy profit on this occasion. Like GTA Online though, the game's online features will no doubt have driven the production cost higher still since the game's initial release, so exactly how much the developers spent or made in total remains something of a mystery. Number 3. Cyberpunk 2077. After 8 years of development and multiple delays, developer CD Projekt Red had a lot riding on the launch of Cyberpunk 2077. It sold well enough, but the game's buggy performance and various glitches led to widespread criticism from players, causing the company's value to fall by billions of dollars in the weeks that followed. Compared to that, the $316 million that was spent making and marketing the game seems like little more than a drop in the ocean. According to one of the company's own financial reports, around $174 million was spent on development, making it one of the most expensive games ever produced at the time of writing. Miraculously, the company did manage to turn a healthy profit on this amount, although after so many updates and fixes, the game finally seems to getting close to perfect. Number 2. Star Wars: The Old Republic. Despite releasing almost a decade ago, Star Wars: The Old Republic continues to receive updates on a fairly regular basis. Considering how much time and money was spent on its initial development though, this really shouldn't come as much of a surprise. Reports suggest that the game had a $200 million development budget, making it one of EA's most expensive and most ambitious projects of all time. This ambition has definitely paid off though, with the game now thought to have generated more than $1 billion in revenue since servers first went live back in late 2011. This would make for a healthy return on the game's hefty development budget, and, with tens of thousands of people still playing the MMO, there really is no telling how much more profit the game might generate before its servers are finally shut down. Number 1. Star Citizen. Following several hugely successful crowdfunding campaigns, developer Cloud Imperium Games was able to raise more than $300 million for the production of Star Citizen. Since then, even more capital has been raised through private investment, which, in turn, has led to both the scale and the scope of the project increasing dramatically. While this is undoubtedly good news for backers and the game's future players, it has brought with it a new problem. Production of the game first began back in 2011, yet there is still no clear indication as to when a full commercial release will finally arrive. Estimates suggest that hundreds of millions of dollars have already been spent developing Star Citizen up to this point, an amount that is only going to increase as production continues to drag on. To say that there is a lot riding on the game's final performance would therefore be a bit of an understatement. Well, that's all for this video, folks. See you in the next one.